All right. Oh, there I am. Yes, there I am. All right, everyone. How's it going? This is a whole new learning curve for me. So I am using a totally different streaming software. This is like take number 10, trying to get it all dialed in. So I think I'm there now. So welcome, everyone. I'll do a formal welcome in a minute. I'm going to drop the link in some places here, hopefully in just a second. Here we go. And drop the link for people just in case they're interested in dropping by, and then we will get started. All right, here we go. There we go. I can't really share anything on my Facebook page right now because I'm in Facebook jail, so I have to drop the links elsewhere. So here we are. Welcome to Catalyst Energies. Thank you for joining me. I'm so grateful that you're here. This is a special astrology report. We're going to be looking at primarily the new moon, but really we're going to be looking at now until the 20th of January, because we are in this window of time that is so incredibly potent and important that we need to be looking at it and understanding the astrology of all of it. So we're going to go through the charts. We're going to look at all of these interesting transits that are applicable to our life right now. And so it could at least give us some bearing, for as much as this is a completely dynamic process and is changing absolutely all of the time. What's up, Meow Meg? So good to see you. We'll see how it goes. Please check this video resolution. It says is current resolution, which is not optimal. I don't understand why that is the case. Okay, it says my status is good. All right, well, whatever. Stream health, it says it's got a good connection. So let's see, am I still here? Is everything good? It says that I'm still, yep, we're still here. So I guess it was lying to me. Who knows? All right. So let's see where we are right now. So let me know if things start getting wonky okay, good. Yeah, let me know if things start getting wonky because like I said, this is a whole new learning curve. I'm using a whole new software that allows me to stream and to share the screen, and I'm really excited about that because that really allows for the bypassing of all of the ad stuff that YouTube is famous for if you don't pay for it. So, and I just feel like that I'm way more engaged when it's live, and just like the live intuitive messages, the daily medicine, when it's live, it's definitely a much more dynamic process, just like astrology is. It's very dynamic, and that's something that I really want to impress upon people as we go through these charts and talk about what's going on, is that this is a dynamic process. And what does that mean? It means that anytime there is any change in a variable, the entire system has the potential to change. It is not static. It is not so formulaic that you can 100% predict what's going to happen. This is actually the essence of chaos theory from a mathematical perspective. It is the idea that just like I said, anytime there is a shift or a change in any variable in the system, it could change the entire system. That is why weather is not something that is 100% predictable, because any shift in any of the variables can change the whole system. And that is what's happening right now. And it's really important that we understand that our input energetically and frequency-wise makes an impact on what's happening right now in real time, more than it ever has, actually. And so being aware of the astrological map in front of us and having a sense of what to expect, not 100% predict, but to have a forecast, just like the weather, can really give us a leg up in terms of what to expect and how we can add our own influence into this, because like I said, now more than ever, this has our input is changing the system in real time, and we continue to do that with every choice, with every thought pattern, with every set of emotions that we choose to give our attention to. This is something that I think is really important to keep in mind, because like I said, nothing is set. Nothing is a sure thing, ever. Change is the only constant in the universe. But what we can do, oh, yay, Dawn. I'm so excited to see you. Isn't this so much better? I love the live so much better. And it was just a matter of finding the right software. So let's see here. I'm just going over how this is a dynamic system and it changes all the time. And our input is impacting the entire resonance, just like being in a musical group, right? Every single individual in that group is part of the whole, and their participation makes an impact, good or bad, right? If you're out of tune, if you are out of tempo in that group, then if you are dissonant, it is going to impact the whole performance. And if we can think about things like that right now, I think that it will give us a sense of not only empowerment, but it will motivate us to pull our energy back in, to ground ourselves, to be very serious, but also, take it, you want to take it seriously, and you want to show up as your best, right? You don't want to slack off, because you know that if you are not doing a good job, it will actually impact the rest of the performance. And the performance is the unfolding of this geometric pattern that we call our matrix of reality. So it's not like there's only one matrix. It's just it's a generic term that represents the lattice structure of the physical world unfolding. So, and that is changing as well. So just keep this in mind as we go through the astrology. These are cycles that are absolutely unchangeable. That is one thing that we can't change, but our input and our participation in these natural cycles unfolding makes all the difference with our experience, okay? So we're going to go through the chart up until the 20th, and we're going to look at all of these aspects that are just mind-blowing. It's already been mind-blowing, and I just don't have the time right now to go and do a retrospective, even though what has unfolded even just in the last 2 days, I mean, not to mention since the 6th, but even the last 2 days has been significant. But we're going to start with right now, which is the 10th. And this, what time is it? It's almost 9 o'clock. So honestly, let's go ahead a couple hours here and really look at what is on the East Coast right now. So 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So let's move ahead here. And we still have the sun in Capricorn. We still have we have Pluto in Capricorn. We have Venus now in Capricorn. We have the moon has already passed if you look here, is at the galactic center and is not quite, is very close to the galactic center, is just past the south node. And we have all this Aquarian energy. So something to keep in mind as we are moving forward is that there's a lot of fixed square energy still, especially with Taurus, right? We have Mars in Taurus, Uranus in Taurus about to go direct. And squaring all of this Aquarian energy. And by the time the new moon rolls around and passes, especially when Uranus goes direct, the moon will also be in Aquarius, right? Aquarius is the revolutionary. It is outside the box. It is the coherence to natural law. It is the energy that is laser focused and makes up the glue that holds the collective together. It is outside the matrix. It is the power and the energy that flows through that lattice structure, that crystalline form. It is the energy that holds it all together. And the Aquarian aspect, that is why it's outside of the box. The dark side of Aquarius is that it is the hive mind, right? That you not necessarily give up your individuality at the highest aspect of Aquarius. If you think about the highest aspect of Aquarius, it is every single individual at the highest version of themselves participating in this unfoldment and creating this beautiful resonance. the dark side of this is the Borg, right? Where everybody gives up their individuality. They're just a zombie, right? They are just a cyborg. They are just a piece of this transhumanist collective that unfolds. And that is a very distinct possibility, and it's a very distinct version of reality. The bifurcation that happened on the 21st is very real, and that's what explains how people can seemingly be living in the same exact space and have completely different perceptions of reality. And one perception of reality is leading down this pathway where all individuality, all ability to express oneself freely is going away for the sake of an autocratic and completely, in a negative sense, the communal aspect, not communal in the sense that we all live together in harmony, but taking away all individuality. That is the dark side of Aquarius, and we have to be aware of that as we move through these times, okay? Let's see here. So where are we? We're at the 10th right now. So the moon is, like I said, is coming close to the galactic center. It's going to cross the galactic center tonight. So we've had a square to Neptune. We've had a square to asteroid Vesta. And it's really the square to Neptune that is one of the biggest aspects today, because the fog has been turned up significantly since Neptune went direct on the 28th of November, right? So we're looking at 6 weeks since that has happened. And the disinformation has been really piling up. The just injection of information from every single corner imaginable has been brought into our conscious awareness, and all of it is there for us to, basically interact with. And Neptune, as the great dissolver, is really allowing us to very, very viscerally connect with all of it. And it is a position that can be very disempowering if we are not anchored into a very clear sense of who we are and what we're doing here. So the moon in this square to Neptune today, the new moon in Sagittarius, we're talking about a mutable square, right? Is changeable, it's malleable. And so there is some room to move here with this square. So the moon in Sagittarius is really looking towards how can we utilize the strength and the energy behind our collective value system and our belief system. That is Sagittarius, our version of truth that is based off a collective understanding. Getting to a place that's safer, getting to a place that is away from all of the refuse, right? We can really feel people emotionally wanting to get somewhere, to utilize the alchemy of our belief systems and our understanding in order to get somewhere that is safer and that is just a better environment in order for us to be in. Now, in a square to Neptune, this is saying, well, wherever you are, wherever you go, there you are. There is really no escaping the entire essence of reality. And that's what Pisces really represents, is going back to the beginning through the end. And the ocean of consciousness makes up everything that we are. And so as much as we each individually may want to try to escape what is seemingly not working for us or seems unsafe, unsavory, we want to get to a better position, the reality is that we can't really separate ourselves from the fabric of spiritual reality. We can't really separate ourselves from that, from whence we came, right? And so the square here is that we may each individually want to do that, but the challenge is that we are still completely absorbed and really just dissolving still into the fullness of this whole experience. And if we can see that and be aware of that, we will get the transmission of the most basic spiritual knowledge that Pisces has to offer us in a direct transmission. It's very difficult, though, because there is nothing to grasp here. Nothing, right? This is the fog completely surrounding us. We have no vision here. How are we supposed to get anywhere safer if we can't even see where we're going, right? And so this is the struggle for today. And you can really feel it, right? The information is just rolling in. And it's just like, if you can't see where you're going, and you're just like, constantly bombarded with stimulation from every angle, it doesn't really even matter because you can't see where you're going. And when the fog is really thick, sometimes the best thing to do is to just sit down and wait for it to clear. And that has been a real challenge with the moon today, because that is an emotional drive to get somewhere safer. And we've been really challenged with that today. So as we move on to what is the 11th, let's see here, we'll go 12 hours, right? This is when things start to really heat up, because not only does the moon have crossed the galactic center, really giving us an infusion of that energy, it is now going to come into, Capricorn, right? The moon's going to come into Capricorn. So in Sagittarius, there was a lot of this. It was very uplifting in some ways and focused on truth and a collective belief system and our understanding. And, Sagittarius is the archer, and it's always facing up and looking up and optimistic and always about the bigger picture. Well, now it's time to get into, it's time to get down to the nitty gritty of reality here. And we're really going to feel that. So with the moon moving into Capricorn tomorrow on the 11th, it's going to trine Mars in Taurus, which has been really struggle, right? Because Mars has gone from its home territory of Aries, of like, I want to get things done. I am the action hero. And he's had to plant its feet and wait for natural unfoldment. That is what Taurus is, the natural living soil. And allowing things to cultivate naturally. This is not an easy position for Mars, and you can really feel the frustration. It is so palpable that people are like, let's get going already. And it is not about getting going. It is about planting ourselves into the soil that we are going to stay in, and that is going to nourish this potential. Mars does not like and so the frustration has been very palpable. So, but right away, the moon wanting to, really yearning for some sort of self-actualization or embodiment, I think that's even more accurate for the moon in early Capricorn, is going to be in a trine to Mars. It's a powerful yearning for whatever will increase the scope and depth of our contact with other people, right? Because Capricorn is about the group performance. So again, we're going to, we can use this as a way to see that our yearning for this contact can really be very much supported and get a lot of traction with Mars that is in a position, like I said, of natural unfoldment. If it can be about our connection with other people and what we are building together, as opposed to with Sagittarius, oh man, you could really feel it over the last 2 days. And even right this moment, it is so much about the bigger picture and the truth coming out. And we all want it so bad. Well, coming back now, we're going to get a little bit more grounded with this moon in Capricorn and get really focused on our goals here. What are we building together? What's our mission? What do we have to do to get to the mountain? It's going to be very personal, okay? Not only that, we also have Jupiter, Mercury are going to conjunct each other in Aquarius, okay? This is, there is a sense of transpersonal responsibility here that is going to be really activated when these two to come together, because Mercury is about the mind, and in Aquarius it is very strong in terms of this coherence. It is the magician having access to the actual power of manifestation itself, and then meeting Jupiter, which is the leader of our collective values as well, coming together, a masked figure in a mystery play. It's this idea of having transpersonal responsibility and being involved in very long established patterns that are meant to release collective power, right? There is a performance that is going on here that is going to very much support Chiron as well, because these two are going to come together, and then they're going to sextile Chiron. This Aquarius Chiron energy is going to, if we are not careful, is, a sextile, right? We have to participate in some way. It's very harmonious, but it requires our action in this instance. And so there is such a strong potential right now for this Chiron energy to be really activated by the Aquarian aspect on the dark side. And we have to be really careful about, and some people, they don't even realize they're doing this. But we have to be very careful, I would say, when it comes to activating that ritualistic play, being, that transpersonal responsibility that is going to be activated not only in the mind and the realm of our thoughts and communications, but then Jupiter, expanding on it like considerably and taking charge as well. So they are going to come together and perform this mystery play and wear this mask and play this role. And it's not about them at all. It's about what they are releasing in the process. Now, this could go one of two ways. The sextile to Chiron, this could allow us to really let go of the wounded identity that many of us have been holding on to. It can allow us to play this out in a way that is kind of like a mystery play, if that makes sense. We don't have to actually feed into the victim mentality as much as letting this performance play out as a way to express that part of ourselves without completely identifying it, right? The putting on the mask. There's a sense of separation here. There's a sense of it lacks the personalization, which is a very Aquarian thing. That's, Aquarians can tend to be very aloof and detached, and that's because they're not allowing their emotions to dictate everything. They are letting the emotions activate them and move through them. The water is a conductor for the electricity. And so this can be a really healing moment tomorrow with all of this connection here, this really strong sextile, Jupiter and Mercury coming together, and in a sextile to Chiron. This could really release some of this. But at the same time, if we're feeding into that victim narrative, this could also really, it could really aggravate some really dangerous territory for some people when it comes to the being nameless, being faceless, actually playing out their role as an authoritarian, and stripping away people's identity as well as a means to bypass their own victimhood, if that makes sense. So you can see how there's different ways this can happen. So beyond that, we have, the moon is then going to meet Venus in Capricorn, right? At this point, now Venus in Capricorn is really important. She has gotten to a place now that she has really settled into her power. She realizes that she is responsible for other people besides herself, and our relationships and what we value and the material world around us, what we identify as feeling good, and what makes us feel good, what gratifies our senses. But in Capricorn, it's not about just her anymore. It is about her role as a leader, right? She is the Empress. And so she has to take responsibility for her leadership. And so when the moon comes into the conjunction with Venus, this is a group of people getting this canoe ready to journey by water. And when we get to the new moon, I don't want to get too ahead of it, but the new moon on the 13th, the 12/13th, the degree of the new moon is the degree of the Saturn-Pluto conjunction, which was almost a year ago to the day of the new moon, okay? And that was the beginning of this tidal wave that is now about to break. And if we can identify our responsibility to our relationships and to the material world around us, like what we and who we actually value, who we love, what's important to us, if we can connect to that need to change something and to make a journey to a new place, we are really going to, it's not going to be an easy journey for anybody, okay? But we will be prepared, right? And that is the name of the game right now, is this preparation time. And so the moon conjunct with Venus. Now, what's going to happen right after that is the moon conjuncts with Venus and then squares Chiron. Now, this is about making sure that everything, this is a time period now where we can really complete a cycle, complete anything else before we take that step across the threshold, okay? Again, this is not going to be an easy thing with Chiron, because again, Chiron is just like, I need to assert myself. I need to assert my wounding of self, okay? And it's really strong. The moon in Capricorn at this point is saying we need to complete this undertaking before we step forward. This is a threshold that we need to pause at and be willing to do so before we step off into the dark woods, the path in the dark woods. And I have a feeling that tomorrow's daily medicine is going to shed a lot of light on this, okay? But for now, just keep in mind that Chiron is really, really being activated right now, and there's a lot of grounding energy that we can take advantage of, not only with the moon, but when Venus comes around to this position just a few days later to also square Chiron. Again, taking the time to basically tie up the loose ends and make sure everything is stacked where it needs to be before we step through the threshold. Okay, so tomorrow is this opportunity to do that, okay? Let's see here. There's so much happening. And then from there, the moon is going to trine Uranus that is still retrograde. And this is when, this is when by the end of tomorrow, this is where we are each going to start feeling something transcendent moving through us. And it's going to be very much in line with where Uranus is, which is that the Good Samaritan, right? We've talked about this many times now, about how we need to leave behind the old and obsolete patterns in order to allow ourselves to even see what is going to be developing in the future in a natural process. But we can't see it if we are still holding on to the past, still holding on to the old traditions. You know, everything is evolving, everything is changing. And if we keep clinging to what is, we can't even see what's going to be coming. And the whole story of the woman at the well is that she was able to see Jesus for who he really was, because she was already separated from the traditions of her people, because she was an outcast, okay? And so this is the awakening for all of us, is this position. And this is where Uranus is going to go direct. And so the moon in trine to Uranus, very, very foundational, very supported, and it is the ability to act as a mouthpiece for the revelation of transcendent will and truth, determining future action, okay? This is going to come through our intuitive sense, though. It's not going to be something that is necessarily openly expressed. This will be way more palpable, again, when Venus comes behind in the next few days to where the moon is. And so where the moon is on the 11th is going to give us a lot of insight into like subconsciously and intuitively what is going to manifest in real time in a very physical way when Venus comes around behind it in just the next few days. So pay attention to that, because this is getting us prepared and getting us set up for what's coming. Now, let's see here, the 12th. This is, again, it's just getting more into every day. There's so much happening. So the 12th, all right, let's see here. Let me get my notes. The 12th. Okay. First of all, right off the bat, Mercury is going to square Uranus. Here we go with all these Aquarian squares again. Aquarius, Taurus squares, fixed squares. These are really difficult squares because their energies are so obviously fixed in what they, in the element they represent. Okay, there's not an immutable square. There's a lot of room for moving around and being malleable. Well, in a fixed square, everybody is very staunchly in their position, and so when they do meet each other, there is not a lot of wiggle room there, and it can be a lot more challenging when it comes to the energy that is associated with the square. So what's happening? Mercury in Aquarius squaring Uranus, still retrograde. Okay, this is, let's see here. The moon is still in Capricorn at this point. There is a sense that we're evolving, and in our minds, we do have an understanding of this. We can objectively see it. We can rationally make sense of it. It is coming through our minds, our communications, our thought forms. Mercury sees the whole picture, right? Sees the new human coming forward. But again, the square to Uranus is saying, well, we might be able to objectively and rationally be able to connect to this new pattern of humanity that's coming forward. But the reality is that you can't force natural growth. It has its own cycle on this planet in the physical reality, and Uranus is teaching us that lesson. That is the path of our awakening, and it will be challenged over and over and over again, all through Taurus, because it is going to shake up the physical aspects of reality so that we learn to have faith in the cycles and that we learn how to trust nature. So even though we see the potential here, this challenge is that we still have to go through the natural unfoldment. This is where patience is really, really important. Okay. It's important that we are patient and aware that you can't force the growing cycle. I guess you kind of can, but that is not, you'd have to be, you do that in a greenhouse with artificial light, right? And not in a natural way. And so that's something to consider, that there is, as much as this Aquarian energy is amazing and it's the future, we can really get caught in the future and not staying grounded in reality and the natural unfolding of the future. And this Aquarian Taurus stuff is really indicative of that. So right off the bat on the 12th, we're going to have that square. Not only that, then Venus in square to Chiron. Remember what I talked about? The archway into the crossing the threshold into the dark woods, taking the step into the next phase, but making sure that everything is taken care of. You can really feel that we are getting many opportunities here to get all of our ducks in a row before we step off into the unknown. And this will be very much on the surface now on the 12th, right? With this square to Chiron. Again, Chiron, I need to assert my wounded nature. I need to assert the victimhood that I feel because of the original wounding of the self. We're all feeling it. We're all dealing with it. We're all dealing with it in different ways, but that will lead to us really wanting to act out in a lot of ways. And Venus is very, very much focused on what she is here to do now, right? In Capricorn, she is focused on her goal. She is focused on her responsibility to not only hers, but everyone around her. And she has no time and no energy for she can't afford to lose any energy, and she is not interested in playing games. Okay. It's very serious now with Venus. And so in our relationships, this is going to be about, hey, we need to get our affairs literally in order, instead of continuing to focus on this narrative, however your Chiron narrative is unfolding and what part of your chart it's in. That'll really tell you what is going on and how other things are aspecting it. This is important that we are seeing that we are getting many opportunities to get ourselves straightened out before this, essentially the new moon, because that is going to be the trigger point, basically, because it is conjunct the Saturn-Pluto conjunction from a year ago. This is going to kick it off, right? This whole new system. But from here, the moon then sextiles Neptune, which is really, again, moon in Capricorn. It's time to start stepping up, being responsible. Maybe we have to grow up a little faster than we wanted to. But if we do that, then this allows us to really tap in to the master transmission, into the actual spiritual knowledge that is given to us unbroken in one seamless form. But that requires, to a certain extent, that we individually are stepping up into a position that will even allow that, right? The disciple has to be worthy of even taking in the transmission. And this might require that emotionally and intuitively, we have to accelerate our growth beyond what we normally would at this point. Also, with a quincunx to the North Node later on the 12th as well, again, there's going to need to be some adjustment here, because the North Node, we're kind of obsessed right now with all of the mental options, all of the ideas, all of the options that we could pile onto our tray right now. And it is where we are headed, because this Gemini aspect is part of how we're going to evolve. We need to learn how to be in the bifurcation and realize that it's one and the same, except that they're mirror images of themselves. The trick will be, I think, and what will require the adjustment in this moment, is to not be so obsessed with all of the potential ideas that we can consume, right? And not getting caught in the bifurcation. The trick will be in order to not get obsessed with that, we need to, I would say, each of us be an active participant in this choir, right? In this beautiful harmonic resonance that we're each participating in, and then together we'll create an actual frequency. And this frequency is what, drives the geometric pattern, right? This is going to, again, require an adjustment, because you can feel the obsession. You can feel the obsession with the information, with the news, with every piece of intel that's coming in. It is overwhelming. And Neptune, of course, like I said, there's nothing to grasp here. Nothing. It is all fog. It is all water. It is all just everything. There is nothing to anchor into except our own. And there's no Cancer in this chart at all. So we're really kind of just, the only water in this chart right now is Pisces. You can see it's all over here right now. So, it's just completely diffused in terms of our emotions. There's no depth anymore. There's no containment from Cancer. It is just diffused. And so there is just, we've been really challenged, okay? And the real kicker here is the moon is going to be in a trine to asteroid Vesta, which is over here in Virgo, and it's really about accepting defeat gracefully. And if we can do that, that is very much in line with asteroid Vesta, really putting on the royal coat of arms and stepping into our noble individual power. Now, does that mean that what that will mean to each of us individually is going to be different? What does that mean by accepting the defeat gracefully? That's an individual experience, but what it will do is align very well and very comfortably with this idea of stepping into the royalness of who we each are. Like, we are worthy of putting on the coat of arms at this point, the armor of God, which has been going around as well. So that's something to consider as well. So this is the 12th, all right? So by the time we get to, let's see here, let's go about 12 hours ahead. And because the new moon is at midnight on the 13th on the East Coast, so that means it'll be 9 p.m. on the 12th on the West Coast, okay? And this is, like I said, this is the moment here. So we'll look at it right here. Okay, so we see that the moon and the sun have come together at this point, like I said. Now, it is a degree off. It is 23, you'll see it's 23 to 24 degrees. So what is that Sabian symbol? Well, it is a woman entering a convent. It is total commitment to a transcendent goal. Now, we're talking about the new moon, right? This is a time to plant a seed of intention. The sun, which is our spiritual fulfillment and expression, coming together with the moon, which is our the space within us in which to create. They come together. These two polar aspects, they come together for creation, and we're setting an intention in the seed point that will evolve over the next month, this lunar cycle. Total commitment to what? A transcendent goal. Now, what happens when you enter a convent? You give up everything. It is completely stripped down to the bare essentials, okay? Keep this in mind, because it is, there's the possibility of pursuing your spiritual goals in peace and being totally dedicated, but you have to be disciplined, and everything else is stripped away from you. And if you're willing to do that, there is a space that society says that society will provide, right? The convent is a institution from the Catholic Church, and you don't have to take this literally. This is just something to consider in terms of an archetype or a symbol. Rigid discipline conditions pure inner freedom, okay? We have got to get disciplined, because over the next month, this is really going, if we can set our intention around this is where we're going to be the most successful. The existence of a convent expresses the relationship between society and the individual in order to pursue this goal. Okay? There's an understanding here. Capricorn is about the group performance, the crystallization of the group process. And it's saying this is valuable and we're going to provide something for it. But we have to make the commitment, and we have to take the step to enter into this institution. This is where we need to set the intention here for the next lunar cycle, because this is really going to be how we're going to make it. Because if we, I would say that if we are not totally committed, and if we are not willing to rigidly discipline ourselves and really strip away everything that's not essential for this goal, it's going to be a really hard month, okay? And I don't know exactly how that's going to manifest, but I do feel like that is the intention we need to set for ourselves as we are moving forward, okay? So what else is happening on the new moon day? So that's right at midnight, bam, new moon. And I feel like that's when things are really going to start hitting the fan, okay? Because not only that, we have the moon is going to conjunct Pluto. Okay, so Pluto, our good old friend Pluto, destroying everything that we've artistic and beautiful and that we've refined over, throughout the development of our culture and our institutions. Pluto is just like, yep, I'm just going to pull out this thread. It's like the sweater song, that Weezer song, pulling, if you want to destroy my sweater, hold this thread as I walk away. That's really what's happening with Pluto. He's just like, yeah, I'm just going to destroy it. And then all of a sudden you're going to be naked and lying on the floor, and I come undone, right? That's really, and the moon is going to conjunct with that point, and we are going to feel that very personally right after the new moon. Then, not only that, Mars squares Saturn. So another Aquarian Taurus square. Mars and Saturn. Ooh, these two squaring off with each other is not easy, right? Mars, the action hero, Saturn, the lord of time, right? It's an interesting 4 degrees. We are 4 degrees Aquarius. There is a distinct responsibility that we have if we are, how do I say this? It's the disciplined use of spiritual energies for healing, to restore natural harmony. And it is our duty as individuals that have been able to tap into this, right? Starseeds is what I'm talking to right now. Light workers is who I'm talking to. If you are able to tap into this reservoir of spiritual forces, it is our responsibility to use these energies for healing, okay? And because it's in Saturn is at this position, it's doubly our responsibility right now, okay? We can't get around that responsibility. The square with Mars is like, oh, I'm the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, dude. Like, as long as I am, fulfilling my part of the bargain, I'm going to get all of my needs met. And it's not to say that that's not true either, but this is going to be a really strong square. These two squaring off of each other is not easy, okay? These are strong, powerful energies, and they're both in Earth. No, they're not. They're not both in Earth. Mars is in Taurus. Saturn is in Aquarius, okay? So we're going again from natural unfoldment to the coherence of natural law, but we're talking about the power that is pervasive through the universe as opposed to Taurus, which is the living soil, the natural cycles unfolding. This is important, that starseeds and light workers and the people who have come here for this reason realize that our responsibility is not on the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, although that's really nice and it will be there. Our job right now, our responsibility is going to be the healing work with people, okay? Now, and then the moon comes around and also conjunct with Saturn. So again, we're going to feel that very personally along with that. Then the moon moves into Aquarius, right? Actually, the moon moves into Aquarius and then is conjunct with Saturn. It is square with Mars. And so that square is going to be aggravated by the moon adding to it. The moon connecting to Saturn and activating it. The moon squaring Mars, being like, feel like our responsibility needs to be on the healing aspect and not so much on the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. I know that we all want Nasara to happen, and it will. But Mars can't really help himself, can he? He's just like, come on already. The healing. That is the responsibility right now. Now, along with that, again, Venus now is going to trine Uranus. Still retrograde. We haven't even gotten to Uranus direct yet. A veiled prophet speaks, seized by the power of God. Remember, we talked about this with the moon, that it would be a subconscious, intuitive, subtle, transcendent will, a revelation of transcendent will. Well, now it's going to be very much. This is still on New Moon Day, okay, the 13th. Now it's going to come through in a very palpable way, this ability to act as a mouthpiece. It's going to come through our relationships. It's going to come through what we value, who we value, the physical material world around us, and what is important to us. That's going to come through. And again, it's going to be very much out and gaining a lot of traction with where Uranus is as well. And so the veiled prophet speaks. I mean, it is really Jesus revealing himself to the woman at the well when he never did that with anybody. And so he even allowed the voice of God to reveal himself to this woman who was capable of actually holding the space for God to be revealed to her, because she had no attachments to anything. And she had no attachments to the Samaritans who hated the Jews, right? Because she was an outcast in her own community. And so she was just like, I'm an outcast here, so I have nothing against anybody else who's supposed to be an outcast either. So again, this will really require us, this awakening process, again, is about letting go of the obsolete patterns, the old traditions. Stop clinging to all of this outdated, outmoded sense of who's right, who's wrong, who's good, who's bad, who should we hate, who should we despise, this and that, the Jews and the Samaritans hating each other. They all came from the same place. It was all just built up over time, over who knows what, right? So letting that go is the way that we will be able to see the future, okay? So then the moon comes around, it's just endless, comes around, then it conjuncts Jupiter in Aquarius, sextiles Chiron, again, the masked figure. We talked about this with Mercury. Now it's going to be very personal. It's going to be very emotional. It's going to be very intuitive. This masked figure performing a ritualistic act. We're going to feel it very directly. When it was just in Mercury and in our minds, now it's going to be personal. And again, this is going to either work in our favor to heal these Chiron wounds, or it's going to aggravate it. It really depends on where you're situated at this point. And then again, the moon's going to come around and square Uranus in Taurus, and the emergence of the new person, the new mutations that are coming about. We want them, we feel them, we can tell that they're coming, we can feel them building within us. But again, we still have to follow the natural cycles, and that requires that we let go of the past in order to see where we're going, okay? This is going to be how we awaken. Now, let's look at just a couple of things as we move forward, okay? Because this is getting really long. And I'm tired of talking. So, and it's just so much. And I knew this was going to be the case. And other people have talked about it as well, that it's such a considerable amount of information that's happening every day. So just take it in stride. Be easy on yourself, relax, do your energy work, do what you can to take care of yourself, because, oh my gosh, it is going to be intense, and it continues to be. Like, we're already at 50 minutes. Okay, I'm going to try to wrap this up. So the 14th, okay, Uranus stations direct. So this is Thursday. So this is when things are going to really start to, I think that we're really going to start to see, I think this is when things are going to start moving in the awakening, right, process. I think that D-class will start happening at this point, maybe have already happened. And I'm not saying that this is going to happen definitively on this date. There's no way to predict this. This is just, like I said, these are just the aspects that the cycles, this is when they're happening. Now, when things happen in real time is not something that I can definitively predict. I can just forecast what to expect. But I'd say around Thursday is when things are going to start moving, right? Because Uranus is moving direct, right? The planet of our awakening, of revolution, and being able, specifically, it's time now to actually let go of the past and let go of the obsolete structures. And this could very well be when we have a blackout, right? It could happen beforehand. It could not happen at all. But if it's going to happen, it's probably going to happen around this time, okay? So not only does that happen, the moon's going to meet, it's already happened, but the moon meets Mercury in Aquarius, and the sun meets Pluto, okay? Not only is Uranus stationed direct on this day, the sun meets Pluto, all right? So the sweater is becoming undone, and boy, oh boy, it's going to be illuminated so strongly on this day. So just be ready for Thursday, okay? That's what I'm going to say about it. But then the moon trines the North Node, and that is, I think that the moon trining the North Node is going to give us a sense of, it's at least going to give us a sense that we're on the right path, okay? We may not see it directly, but we're going to feel it, all right? And then, nothing's really going to happen. Well, I can't say that. I shouldn't say that. I'm going to say that there's not any real stuff, transits happening. Here, hold on. Here we go. Transits happening until the, let's see here. It's just so much. I'm so sorry, guys. The 17th. All right. We're almost done. You're going to have to go back and listen to this like a billion times. I'm going to be on every day live here on YouTube to do the daily medicine because I'm still locked out of Facebook. So, all right, the 17th, the moon is going to be in Pisces. As you see here, it's already crossed Neptune. Whoo, boy. All right, that is going to be fog central. Fog central. but it's also going to be beautiful. Oh my gosh, the moon meeting Neptune is also going to be just unconditional love and compassion to the max, if we can see it that way. It's going to be very beautiful. Now, along with this too, now Jupiter is going to square Uranus. Look how close Mars is. Jupiter is also going to square Uranus on this day as well. So we keep getting this Uranus squares with Aquarius and Taurus. And it's all the same degrees, 7 degrees Aquarius, the child being born out of the egg. It is the idea that it is a mutant. It is the next iteration of humanity, born out of the cosmic egg. It is unconnected to the ancestral karma. Okay, so we have a sense of the future in all of these transits, but again, the constant challenge is back to, well, that's great, but the awakening process is about the natural unfoldment. So again, this will just be brought up again. It's going to be harder now because Jupiter expands on everything and is just so bombastic, and it's just like, I am in charge. So it's going to be even more challenging, and Uranus is moving direct at this point. And so it's going to be a very strong connection. I think that we're going to see some real movement at this point. We may even have some disclosures here on the 17th that will really challenge us. We'll see. The 18th, the moon is going to conjunct Chiron on the 18th because the moon moves into Aries. The 19th is when the sun moves into Aquarius. Okay, so 0 degrees Aquarius, the sun moves into Aquarius. Now we're fully expressing ourselves through this Aquarian mode, when it had been in all the, you know what I mean? We had Mercury, we had Jupiter, we had Saturn, and now with the sun, it's only, it's fully in our fulfillment, in our expression of ourselves, okay? The 19th. Not only that, the moon is in Aries, like I said, and the grand finale, here we go, because the 20th, there's a lot of things happening on this day. Number one, it's the first quarter square. You can't make this shit up, because wait till I tell you what the Sabian symbol is for this first quarter square. So, first quarter square, crisis in action. What are we going to do? Right? We've had the new moon that said it's time to commit to a transcendent goal. We're going to set this intention, and now this is our first real challenge, okay? Not only that, and I'm going to tell you, but I want to show you, not only that, the moon is coming into Taurus. Look how close it is to Uranus. It's going to cross Uranus and Mars, also conjunct now in Taurus. So Uranus is direct, Mars is going to meet it. This is going to be an eruption of some sort. It's going to be an activation. It's going to really be very earth-shaking, almost literally at this point. The moon is going to also come across, so we are going to feel it in the waters of our emotional landscape as well. Now, Mercury will trine the North Node. This is really beautiful, okay? Because this degree, 20 degrees of Aquarius, is a white dove bearing a message. Now keep this in mind, please, because everything else surrounding it is going to be very disruptive. We have Aquarius, okay? We have Uranus and Taurus, Mars meeting it. But this trine is a white dove bearing a message. At least in the messages we will get in this moment, there will be hope, okay? Now, here's the degree. 2 degrees Aquarius, 2 degrees Taurus. Both of these degrees are about a storm, okay? One of them, where the sun is, 2 degrees Aquarius, is an unexpected storm, right? It is the idea that no matter what we do, we are always subject to nature. Always. They can just pull it away at any moment. That is 2 degrees Aquarius. 2 degrees of Taurus, an electrical storm. And it's more about the power that electric, because lightning is just the redistribution of energy, right? There's too many charged ions in the atmosphere, and so in order to come to homeostasis, all of the electrons move, from positive to negative charged ions, so everything balances. And when electrons move, that is electricity, so you get lightning, right? So it is a natural dispersion of energy and balance. And 2 degrees Taurus is about how that is a very natural process, number one. And number two, as disruptive as it is, it can be a very, it can be an experience that is fertilizing, if that makes sense. It could be something that is, how do I say this? It's an experience that will charge you in the process of your natural growth. So that's something else to keep in mind. And so the square here is, yeah, we're going to see that there is an unexpected storm, that something's going to come through and just, you know, on the surface here, destroy everything that we have built, okay? But on the internal landscape of the moon, it's going to fertilize the situation. And the crisis here is, what do we do about it? And we're going to find out. That's for sure. It is going to be earth-shattering on the 20th. So much so. And this Mercury trine the North Node is so beautiful with this white dove that it is like that one glimmer of like hope that we can have for the future, despite how everything is likely to shift and change on that day. Okay, I think I did it now. Thank you for sticking with me. I know it's been a long live, and I wanted to go over everything. I thought that it was really important that we looked at all of these things. So thank you. If you are interested in reading, everything you need is in the description box below. I'm still locked out of Facebook, so I can't really interact there right now. So I really actually encourage you to go to the website and sign up for the mailing list so that we can keep in touch that way. That will be preferable and ideal. Let me know if you have any questions. I will see you on tomorrow morning for the Daily Medicine live. And yeah, I love you guys. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you on the next video.